Mark chapter 9. And he said to them, Surely I say to you, that there are some of those that stand here, which shall not taste of death, until they have seen the kingdom of God come with power. And after 6 days Jesus took with him Peter and James and John, and led them into a high mountain apart by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. And his clothing became shining, exceedingly white as snow, such as no cleaner on earth could whiten them. And there appeared to them Elijah with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter answered and said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tents, one for you, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. For he did not know what to say, for they were terribly afraid. And there was a cloud that overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. And suddenly, when they had looked around, they saw no men any more, except Jesus with themselves. And as they came down from the mountain, he instructed them that they should tell no man what things they had seen, until the Son of Man was risen from the dead. And they kept saying to themselves, questioning one to another, what the rising from the dead would mean. And they asked him, saying, Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? And he answered and told them, Elijah certainly does come first, and restores all things. And how it is written of the Son of Man, that he must suffer many things, and be set at odds. But I say to you, that Elijah has indeed come, and they have done to him whatever they listed, as it is written of him. And when he came to his disciples, he saw a great multitude around them, and the scribes questioning with them. And immediately all the people, when they beheld him, were greatly amazed, and running to him, saluted him. And he asked the scribes, What question do you have with them? And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought to you my son, which has a dumb spirit. And wherever he takes him, he tears him, and he foams and gnashes with his teeth, and pines away. And I spoke to your disciples that they would cast him out, and they could not. He answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I endure you? Bring him to me. And they brought him to him. And when he saw him, immediately the spirit tore him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. And he asked his father how long it is ago since this came to him. And he said, Since a child. And often it has cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Jesus said to him, If you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes. And immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying to him, You dumb and deaf spirit, I instruct you, come out of him, and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried and shook him terribly, and came out of him. And he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he rose up. And when he had come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why couldn't we cast him out? And he said to them, This kind can come out by nothing but prayer and fasting. And they departed from there and passed through Galilee, and he preferred that no man should know of it. For he taught his disciples and said to them, The Son of Man is delivered into the hands of men, and they shall kill him. And after that he is killed, he shall rise the third day. But they did not understand that saying, and were afraid to ask him. And he came to Capernaum, and being in the house, he asked them, What was it that you disputed among yourselves on the way? But they held their peace, for on the way they had disputed among themselves who would be the greatest. And he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, If any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all, and servant of all. And he took a child and set him in the midst of them, and when he had taken him in his arms, he said to them, Whoever shall receive one of such children in my name receives me, and whoever shall receive me receives me not, but him that sent me. And John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in your name, and we forbid him, because he did not follow us. But Jesus said, Forbid him not, for there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. For he that is not against us is on our part. For whoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, surely I say to you, he shall not lose his reward. And whoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hung around his neck, and he were cast into the sea. And if your hand offend you, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life maimed than having 2 hands to go into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched, where their worm dies not, and the fire is not quenched. And if your foot offend you, cut it off. It is better for you to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched, where their worm dies not, and the fire is not quenched. And if your eye offend you, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter into the kingdom of God with 1 eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire, where their worm dies not, and the fire is not quenched. For every one shall be salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt has lost his saltness, where will you season it? Have salt in yourselves, and have peace one with another.